Good morning, everyone, and happy Saturday. We are back with our streams on Saturdays. I am back on the weekend morning shift. Really happy to be with our loyal Saturday and Sunday morning viewers. Today is really not going to be a terrible day. So, Friday, we had consistent cloud cover. Temperatures only reached 67, but clouds already beginning to break out there right now. You can see Monroe, Concord looking fantastic. Boone looks beautiful as well. App State's campus, always a nice sight to see no matter really what's going on there. So a really nice forecast setting up there across most of our area heading out the door today. Now, of course, temperatures have been really warm. And one of the reasons why is because of high pressure overhead. But this is going to have an implication to our forecast looking ahead toward this evening, and also is one of the reasons why we're not going to see severe weather this upcoming weekend. So you might have heard that there were, unfortunately, significant tornado outbreak last night in parts of the Midwest. This is mostly in eastern portions of Nebraska and western and midwestern portions there of Iowa, although there are a few reports of tornadoes sprinkled into parts of Kansas as well as western Missouri. These likely some of these reports that you'll see are from the same tornado, most likely. In fact, you can actually see two of these almost look like they're in a line just outside west and east of Omaha. Again, most likely a long track tornado. So there were 98 reports officially over the last 24 hours. Again, that does not mean there were 98 tornadoes. This is just the reports that they've gotten. Very unfortunate situation. The pictures and the videos are absolutely devastating. And these areas, or at least some of these same areas, have the potential for severe weather again heading out the door today. But for us here in the Carolinas, the high pressure system is going to help actually keep these storms away from us. You can actually see there's some of that energy up toward portions of Ohio into parts of the Midwest, or sorry, the New England states, that is, from Virginia up north. And then we also have that little tiny piece of energy there in eastern Missouri. All of that you can see shifting up toward parts of the New England states and up to northeastern parts of the country. And again, the reason why all has to do with the big HP. On a normal day, we would be talking about high pressure being great because it suppresses storm activity, things of that nature, but this is a little bit different. So in a normal setup, when for a rainfall pattern this time of year, you have all this warm and moist air coming in from the south, the Gulf of Mexico, and even parts of the Gulf Stream. And what happens when you have all that warmth and moisture in place, and then you have storm tracks, so cold fronts coming down, we are right smack dab in where you would see storm potential from pretty much the panhandle of Florida all the way up toward the eastern Carolinas. But what's happening right now is that Bermuda High, which you can actually see there just offshore, has shifted closer to the Carolinas. So remember, high pressure is sinking motion of air and it suppresses storms. But what it also does is it changes our wind direction pattern. So with the high a little bit closer to the state of Florida, our wind direction as of late has been more south-southwesterly, and that is essentially pushing those storms clockwise above us and up toward Virginia and areas north. So while those folks right now, it doesn't look like a risk of severe weather there, again, this keeps us away from any kind of risk. And the reason why this is important, and Brad Panovich also went over this last night in the 11 o'clock newscast, is because oftentimes when we talk about severe storm systems that are west of us, we know that those storm systems move west to east. So I just want everybody to be clear that while this is a very unfortunate situation for other portions of the country, we are not going to see any implications from that storm system here in the Carolinas. Now, one of the reasons why this is significantly terrible is because, again, some of those same areas, especially along and south of Omaha, are under now another high risk of severe storms, including tornadoes today. You can see that from Omaha down south toward Kansas City, Missouri, Oklahoma City, Wichita, Kansas. And as we zoom out here, you can actually see it's a wide swath of area. The red is just the highest risk. So a very sad situation. I know I'm speaking for myself, but I'll be watching the coverage. Thoughts and prayers with folks out there. Unfortunately, you cannot control the weather. And so all you can do is do your best to forecast and let people know ahead of time. And hopefully, because this is part of Tornado Alley, a lot of people have, storm shelters, things like that. If you have friends and family in these areas that weren't impacted yesterday but might be impacted today, I'd go ahead and shoot them a text, give them a call, and make sure that they are aware and they have multiple ways to get warnings: a NOAA weather radio, a local TV station's weather app, text messages from the National Weather Service, the WEAs, the wireless emergency alerts on their phone. Some of those can be turned off, so just make sure all of those things are turned on. Now, as we get closer to tomorrow, there's still a risk of severe weather. It's just a little bit lower, but it's again kind of for the same exact areas from southern Iowa down toward Arkansas, Missouri, eastern parts of Oklahoma, and eastern parts too of Texas. So again, while we can be thankful that it's not us here in the Carolinas, we do still want to keep in mind that this is impacting a large swath of people across the country. So again, friends, family, close relatives, anybody, please let them know. Now, today locally, again, we have no storm activity expected, but still expecting some cloud cover mixed in with sunshine. This morning we were cloudy. We'll be mostly cloudy this afternoon, but smack dab in the middle of the day, especially around lunchtime, we will see plentiful sunshine mixing in. It's already really begun. If you're looking at our tower cams actually off to the right, so if you're seeing me do that, that's why. But I mean, I can see Lylesville, Anson County has sunshine, Monroe and Union County, up toward Cabarrus County, some sunshine peeking through from our Kannapolis Tower Cam, which is over the Cannonballer Stadium, and the Speedway looks almost mostly sunny at this point because a lot of those clouds are a little bit thinner. But what I do want to point out, even about our local forecast, is there's a few tiny little specks of green as you look at Futurecast here. That is indicating drizzle. If you were out and about anywhere across the Charlotte Metro, so I'm really considering the 485 loop yesterday, we did see some patchy drizzle, some areas of light rain. In fact, I was even driving on 277 and I had them even in the car. Now, again, drizzle is about a quarter the size of a regular raindrop. It is not significant. It is not widespread, but that's the only risk we have for rain today. It's less than 20%, which is why you won't see it reflected on our 7-day forecast. Now, this evening, that all starts to clear out. We eventually become partly cloudy. Overnight, clouds begin to clear even more, and this will set us up for a fantastic Sunday forecast. Sunday morning, with a few high clouds lingering, we will see a really vibrant sunrise and then another vibrant sunset too by the second half of Sunday afternoon, as we see a partly to mostly sunny sky for Sunday. So I would say on average today, we're thinking mostly cloudy. Tomorrow, partly cloudy. But today's temperatures are also going to be a big story. I mentioned at the beginning of this stream, we only hit 67 yesterday. Today we're targeting around 78. So this is pretty close to, if not slightly above average for this time of year. Then tomorrow, the 80s are back. And I'm not talking about big hairstyles and awesome neon clothes, although my hair sometimes looks like I should have been, alive then with my big curly hair. But 81 degrees is the forecast high temperature. Now, if you like those 80-degree temps, I have some good news. We have even more nice, warm weather in the forecast for the upcoming week. My pick of the week right now is looking like it's going to be Monday because of sunshine, mid-80s, and abundant sunshine at that. Good day to get outside, but make sure, of course, you got the sunscreen on. One thing I also want to point out is that it is April 27th, so the last weekend of April, which means we only have a few days left in our second month of meteorological spring. Last month of meteorological spring will begin on May 1st, but I think this map is really important to see because May 1st, our average high goes to 77. But at the end of May, as we get closer to June, it shoots all the way up to 83. Spring and fall are, of course, those months where we have really big temperature swings because they're the in-between months, between summer and winter. And so May is going to be one I think you'll really, really notice a big change from the beginning of the month versus what we have for the end of the month. And remember, those are averages over a 30-year period. So we are talking long-term averages when we look at, the average high for this time of year, which right now is 76 as of April 27th for a high and around 52 for a low. Now, the next few days, I mentioned, of course, 81 was just kind of the icing on top of the cake, when it came to the warm temperatures. 84 on Monday, sunshine. We're back in the mid to upper 80s by Tuesday, and we have more chances this week to get close to 90 degrees for the first time this year. If you're with us 2 weeks ago, we did see a chance to hit 90 on Thursday. We did not get there. We got to 89, but I think this week we have another good chance to do it. Now, it's not necessarily rare to see 90s, in May, but it is a little bit early regardless of the time period. So, sunshine, abundant Monday. Warmer temperatures by the end of the week. The one other thing I just want to make of note on the 7-day forecast is Tuesday right now. It does look to be our best chance to see some rain and storms in the forecast. This is going to be largely dependent on timing. We have a little trough of low pressure that kind of peels away from a main cold front, which is why you see storms in the forecast, but not actually a cool down because an actual front isn't passing by. So right now, it looks like a low risk for some showers and storms. We'll be keeping a very close eye on it, but right now it does not look like anything severe of that nature. But I'll tell you that even when we are not under an official risk for severe weather, when you have temperatures in the mid 80s and sunshine, you can see those quick pop off thunderstorms that still see gusty winds, even if they're not at that level and pea-sized hail as well. So we'll keep a close eye on that. Otherwise, dry and quiet Wednesday, Thursday, and then our next chance for rain after that doesn't arrive until the end of the upcoming week. So overall, I don't think it's a bad forecast over the next 7 days. I appreciate everybody who tuned into this live. Hopefully this was helpful, not just for our local forecast, but also talking about what happened yesterday and what will likely happen again today across portions of the Midwest. Please, folks, stay safe, stay weather aware. Remember, that's the most important thing that you can do is being aware of the forecast and knowing when the forecast is potentially going to be bad. So you have those ways to get alerts. You know where your safe place is. The number one thing I go over, with kids and things like that when we do school talks is knowing where their safe place is, whether it's a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning, and also having those ways to get alerts and remembering when thunder roars, move indoors, because that's a typical thing this time of year that if you're outside, you can see lightning or hear thunder, you need to go indoors and stay safe. So I'll leave you with that. Have a happy, healthy, safe, fantastic Saturday. Get outside if you can. 78 degrees, one of the cooler days we'll have this upcoming week. And I will see you back here on WCNC Charlotte, dark and early, at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning with Caitlin Hagwood. I'll see you then.